What's going on, Jab Jab Talk Nation? It's your boy O to the Zeal, always keeping it real on this YouTube channel that we call Jab Jab Talk, where we jab about boxing with boxing super fans, not your casual fans, but these are the real deal fans. And I'm excited to be a part of this community. And if you are a loyal listener or viewer, I keep on thinking it's a podcast. It may be one day. But if you are a subscriber, make sure you subscribe if you dig in the vibe. Or if you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. And if you dig in the vibe, and if you are a loyal subscriber, man, you can tell that I'm rusty, y'all. Real talk, no edits. I'm going to keep it here. What I'm trying to say is I'm just no sleep. I'm just really tired. All right, let me rewind, click, edit. All right, we're going to do this. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being a part of the Jab Jab Talk Nation. All right, let's get into it. Get it together, Ozil. Come on. Get your Canelo on. Get your Canelo on. All right, here we go. Check it out. All right. Canelo Alvarez. He just recently had a fight. Put a beating on Berlanga. Entertaining fight. What's next for Canelo? Not much talking going on about Canelo, but we're going to jab about it today. So let's talk about it. All right. So Canelo Alvarez, what's next? So I started thinking about like what's the scenario? Like what are some of the things where can we see Canelo in 2025? Who are his opponents? You know, what do you think he's going to do? And again, comment down below. Let me know. I do have a lot of respect for Canelo Alvarez. I think what he's accomplished has been bar none, top level, right up there with the Floyd Mayweathers and the Miguel Cottos and the Trinidads and all the big. I can go on and on and on and on. Of all the top fighters of this past generation, De La Hoya and on and on and on. We can make a list of all the fighters that have become legendary, that are have a legacy in boxing. Canelo is in that list, right? And he obviously, arguably one of the best fighters of this generation. So I saw recently, by the way, and here's a side note. I saw this guy. He was a YouTuber. Forgot his name. He was talking about Canelo haters and Canelo. I'm sorry, not Canelo haters. He was talking about Canelo fans and all this other stuff, right? And he was talking about Canelo fans are ignoring this, and David Benavidez this, and David Benavidez that, and how Benavidez is the real man, and Canelo, and he was just kind of really like downplaying Canelo. And I'm like, look, how can you not, unless you just tuned into boxing a couple years ago, how can you just ignore everything that Canelo has done leading up to this point? How can you ignore that? Like, I don't think it has nothing to do with being a Canelo fan or whatever. I do feel it comes down to looking at the man's accomplishments and seeing what he's done in boxing, frankly. So, anyways, side note, I just feel like it's interesting when I see YouTubers and boxing critics criticize Canelo so much. Yes, we wanted to see him against Benavidez. Yes, we want to see him against all these big fights at this stage of his life. But you still can't like negate like everything that he has accomplished leading up to this point. He has fought champions. He has gone up weight. He did fight Mayweather. He fought Cotto. He's fought Sugar Shane Mosley. He's fought Lara. He Triple G 3 times. I mean, you can go on. Bevo at 175. Come on. I can go on and on and on and on, and no sugarcoating. I could just you can look at his resume and see he's by far has been outperforming and fighting champions more than the majority of the boxers that are actively fighting right now. Let alone in the past. One of the most active fighters out there. So again, you got to tip your hats off and respect the man for that. All right, I digress. What's next for Canelo? I was thinking about this, and again, I want you guys to chime in and let me know, like, who is his next opponent? Who do you think? I definitely 2 fights. I think he's definitely calmed down on his volume. Like, he hasn't really been as active. May and September are his big dates. What can we see him? He's not going to go volume anymore. He's in a different phase of his life. I get it. He's an entrepreneur. He's doing a lot of things. So what do I predict next? Well, here's a few scenarios. I feel that the big thing is the big names that everybody was pairing him up was against Benavidez and then Crawford. Can we see that? I don't see a fight happening with Benavidez anytime soon. I won't say that it will never happen, but I just don't see it in 2025. But who knows? When everybody was criticizing Canelo, he came out of the woodworks when they were criticizing because they said he was ducking Triple G. Remember that? And then out of the woodworks, he was like, he made this big announcement after his fight, and then voila, he gave the world what we wanted to see. So the man is not afraid, and he may just wait until the calm, the storm has calmed down, and there's all less hoopla about fights and trash talking, and then he may, I wouldn't be surprised if he does announce a fight with Benavidez at some point. Now, um, I do feel, can we see a Crawford fight? That was the other name that was going. I wouldn't be surprised with Crawford. And the reason why is because he took on Jermell Charlo, a 154 pounder who went up. And I do feel that Canelo will look at some advantages and can say, hey, let's go ahead and get this big notable name, on my resume, like a Crawford. I mean, that would be a hell of a name, right? To put on your resume to beat, no matter what weight class it is. And the intrigue in that is that, Crawford, yet he's still small, can I remember Canelo's 5'8". He could go up weight, put some weight and fight Canelo at 168, but with sheer skill set can offset and make the fight really interesting because Crawford's skill set is not like a Berlanga or a Munguia or all the previous fights, right? Crawford would bring a different skill set, or Jermell Charlo, like he'll bring a different skill set to the ring that would make the fight really, there'll be some challenges, for that fight. I do believe that. Um, sure, does Canelo have some advantages in size and power? And yes, absolutely. IQ, yes, for sure. But Crawford is an OG as well, and I do feel Crawford has some tools in there that can make this fight really, really exciting. Not to mention, he will be motivated more than ever to be able to make history and do something that's never been done before. So I think it'll be a very intriguing fight to watch. Because they're both kind of been the face of boxing for quite some time. So I would not be surprised if that happens next. I would not be surprised if he takes on a lesser name in May. Um, don't have a name in mind, but maybe somebody that we probably in the top 10 that we probably never heard of. Uh, don't know. Maybe. And then I would not be surprised if I've been thinking about this is that he takes on Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant has been on this, revenge tour, and he's been very laying low when it comes to the trash talk. And I feel like there's Canelo will pick you up whenever will take you up on the ring whenever he sees there's not so much trash talking. I think he did that with David Benavidez, and then he did that also with Bubba Andrade. Remember that when Andrade was kind of calling him out. Crawford, when he started doing that, I was like, Crawford, just chill, man, because you may be the one. And I noticed that he's a very he's a very proud man, and I think that when if you disrespect him outside the ring, he's not going to give you the nod. He knows he's going to make you very, very rich. So I feel like there's Canelo is like he'll pick and choose who he wants, and almost kind of like if he doesn't like you, then he won't pick you. So Caleb and him are buddies, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives him another shot, in September. Wouldn't be surprised, especially if I was Caleb Plant, I would want to fight ASAP. That way he can look good and then set it up for September. Would not be surprised if that happens. Other than that, I really don't know what other fights are out there for him. I do see that we may see a Crawford fight. I think it's going to be an intriguing fight, and I think Canelo, his people may just say, "Hey, you're the bigger guy. He didn't look good in his last fight. He struggled at 154 against a very awkward fighter, but he struggled nonetheless. You know, put him up at 168 and look good against a very, very highly notable name, and it'll be challenging because of his skill set. And I think Canelo, those two things will kind of excite him. It'll be like, all right, he's little, smaller coming up at 168, but I got the advantage here. But he has skill sets, so it gets me up to training, and he's going to be up for the challenge. I would not be surprised if that happens. Would not be surprised if that happens in September, or no, I'm sorry, in May. Would not be surprised. And it'll definitely generate some buzz. So I don't know. That's kind of my take. I'm curious to know your thoughts. And then I wouldn't mind, yeah, probably see Crawford and then either Crawford and Plant or possibly like a no-name fighter, you know, a Berlanga. Well, Berlanga wasn't a no-name, but you know what I mean. Not a fighter who really, really doesn't deserve it. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know who's out there. You let me know. Is there a 168 pounder out there? I think the staple is getting real thin, you know, and I just don't see if Canelo. There's talks of him going up and fighting somebody out in the win out of Bevo and better be giving a rematch. But that fight doesn't excite me, and I think because of the styles, they say, and Canelo says that he was injured when he fought Bevo. I just don't see that fight going in Canelo's favor. Can he beat Bevo? Yes, but I don't know if this version of Canelo could beat Bevo. Not the Bevo that we've been seeing, where it's just pop, 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 and I just don't see it. Not with that skill set and not at that size. I just don't. I think there's Canelo's amazing. He's great, but I think there's definitely levels. And not to say that he can't beat Bevo, but I think at this weight, you know, I just don't see it. Canelo like a 160 was like flawless. Like he was just unstoppable. Now he's like showing us greatness where his IQ is super, super high. And he can he can take some shots, but he can still look freaking amazing, like he did it with Berlanga, right? When Berlanga let his hand go, he tagged Canelo a few times, but you see the fight and you see what Canelo did in dissecting and just beating the man down. It's a whole different level, you know. And I just think that 168 is probably his cap. I don't know if he could pull off 175, frankly. I really don't. I really don't. Even Berlanga was a big boy, and Canelo couldn't. He dropped him and couldn't finish him off. So he can punch. He has good punching power, but at 175, I don't think it's as devastating as it is as where he was at 160. You know, or potentially 168. But he is aging. He has a lot of mileage, and I think there's some challenges there, and he's definitely slowed down. So it's going to take a volume, fast puncher. That's the reason why I think the David Benavidez fight would be really interesting because I think David Benavidez could really do some damage at 168. But looks like that's not going to happen. Who knows? He may take Benavidez at 175 for his title. You may just see what plays out between Benavidez and the winner of Beterbiev and Bebo, and then take on that fighter and give that another shot. Would not be surprised if he does that either. But maybe like a Chris Eubank. I don't know. There's gonna be a surprise at 168 to see what happens. But I don't know what's happening. I know he's not showing any interest with Crawford, but I don't know. I think there's some interest there and some competitive advantages that he has that can make the fight happen. So we'll see. That's my take on Canelo. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next in 2025. But the man is great. He's made his legacy. Benavidez is going in a different direction to create his own legacy. And I just don't want to see him get beat by a lower standard. And I think that if he sleeps on Crawford and overlooks him, if he decides to pick him, that could happen. That could happen too. So I don't know. Lots to think about, but we'll see. Let me know in the comment section. What do you think Canelo's next two fights are? We'd love to know. Thanks again for checking out the Jab Jab Talk. I was able to kind of get it together. I know it was a rough start, but finished strong, y'all. Finished with the knockout. Thanks again. I appreciate y'all. Peace.